Okay. Collaborative, strategic and collaborative leadership. I am Doblar. I'm from Dr. Yangas Colleges Incorporated. I'm from the academe. And honestly, very honestly, okay, I'm quite new in the industry of HR. For I was tasked to lead our department, our human resources, only at the age of 22. Okay? Guess how young am I right now? How young do you think I am? I'm only... Thank you. I'm only 25 years ago. Okay? I've been facilitating HR affairs for the last 3 years. Okay? Actually, it is a very serious role because, as we all know in the academe, majority of our employees, of our people there are doctorate holders, master degree holders, and I am the one only with cuteness. I'll be sharing this afternoon sort of points and talks about strategic and collaborative leadership in which we employ in our organization. For we have heard already of the many discussions, sharings, topics from our esteemed speakers since the beginning of this conference, of this expo and symposium. And I know we are all in sync that all those programs, policies, innovations would remain written policies if not supported by leadership, right? So, look at the person sitting beside you, to your right and to your left. Ask him or her right now, how, again, I want it with conviction. I'm so sorry. I used to teach children and I also used to teach college students. That's why whenever I'm not getting the response that I want, I used to make repeated instructions. Again, ask that person, how are you leading? Is the passion still there? Is the fire still alive? We all could agree that in our leadership context, the top management is out of our control. The owners of our businesses is out of our control. Definitely we cannot talk to our leaders and tell them, boss, you should be doing this. You should be implementing this. If that's your organization, that's a very healthy organization, a listening organization. But for most of our setups, we know that the management, the top management is out of our control. Yet, as HR leaders, HR professionals, we are given the task, we are given the responsibility and even the authority to bridge the voice of our people to the voice of our management. A very crucial task that can only be effectively implemented when shared and communicated also effectively. If we want our people to commit to meaningful changes in our organizations, we have to always take account that adaptive, collaborative, and strategic leadership is critical. I know that there are a lot of problems arising in our organizations, be it consistent with hiring, with all phases of HR, but all are embedded of the value systems that we have in our organizations, the culture that we have in our organizations. Thus, for our people to be able to respond correctly, for them to participate, for them to be able to be part of these meaningful changes, what is it that we need? We need adaptive, collaborative, and strategic leadership. Thus, in this landscape of our organization's new setup, we need to reevaluate. We need to reimagine as we always say in our school, reimagining things is our mantra. A while ago, I've been listening to our esteemed speakers, and while I'm actually revisiting my slides, I've been consistently telling myself, goodness, the point was already raised. Goodness, that is mine. And I ended up telling myself, okay, if the thoughts were already shared, if the concerns were already been raised, then I'll just be myself as to how I journeyed with HR in our organization. With that, we in DYCI at Dr. Yangas Colleges Incorporated, what is it that we do? We love to reimagine things. Simple things, yes, but in a way of repackaging it, we do it better, we transform it and translate it to better employee experience. Very honestly, my background is not HR. My major is really on marketing. I'm a marketing management graduate, and when I asked my boss what's the immediate reason why I was the one tasked by the board of trustees to lead our organization, they told me, madaldal ka. Ang ganda ng requirement. That time, I say to myself that this kadaldalan should be helpful, should be utilized. So what's my first task then as HR of our company? We have at this point around 350 employees. And my first assignment is to know each of them. The only reason why I was tasked to lead our department is to engage, to facilitate, and to connect our owners to our employees. For we believe, as we always say, people are our prime movers, the front line of our organizations. They are the ones who would be the makers and the breakers of our companies, would define the success of it. Thus, the only consistent call is to make them engage, to make them see that they are, at the end of the day, we in our school, we would derive at the very same mantra that we live out. Magis quam schola familia. More than a school, a family. I know that there are recent studies that tell that the value system of companies telling that they are families tend to abuse their employees. They are those companies who are telling that it is the badge of honor when you work for longer hours than the usual. When you afford to not rest, when you take your paid time offs and then report to work. Yeah, there are studies that support such. But please spare our institution from such mindset. Because in our school, the only reason is we live out the value of being a family. That's why even organizations today, from the sharings that we facilitated already and we've heard from our esteemed speakers, what is the very buzzwords? Flexibility and personalization. Because we cannot afford to take into account of appealing to all our employees all at the same time, all at the same space, and all at the same way. Satisfaction will remain to be the most consistent and eager call. Thus, the trends and the threats that shape the HR industry could all be championed through collaborative and strategic leadership. What is it that we did in DYCI that maybe would be also found helpful in the setup of our organizations? For us, we don't call our employees just employees. One thing that I did in our organization when I took the role is to simply make the department not just alive, but transparent. That's my constant goal. My staffs are there, and they could prove it. No, I've been telling them. Actually, my staffs are there in the office. They've been serving the institution for more than a decade already. And as a newbie, I'm tasked. That's why I always call them my angels. Things are getting very easy because of them. What's my first mindset? I have to know all our employees. And aside from knowing all our employees, what is it that we need to do? All employees, be it the most senior one, be it the newbie, when they enter our office, be sure that when they come out, they are happy. Basic. That's how basic we communicated. We want all who will afford, consult, ask, inquire, and would seek our help at the HR would come out of our office satisfied. Very taxing, yes, I would say. In our early days, we saw that the program is not that visible to our employees. There are some who would still be resistant and would tell the HR is there for escalations of complaints. The HR is there. What's the notion of our employees? O pinapatawag ka sa HR. What's the immediate notion? Bakit may ginawa ako? Para po tayong mga kalaban. Look at that person sitting again beside you. Look to that person very thoroughly. That's why what we did, if they don't want to visit our office, let our office visit them. So what is it that we did? We put premium into the value of differentiation. Same package, employee experience, different approach. What we did is to simply allot time, days to when we would meet with our employees. Because I'm very, very new to this role, my mindset into knowing my people is by casually meeting them, talking to them. And because they would not afford to visit the office, I would be the one to tell my staffs, Angels, I would be out. No questions asked. They know already where I'll be heading on. They know already what would be my day for that particular schedule. And after that, babalik po ako ng office. I'll be back in my office around 2 p.m. or after lunch. They would be asking. Arises when our senior employees would be meeting up with me. Our 83-year-old professors meeting up. My goodness. The time allotment would be, instead of only an hour or two, would be the whole morning intended only for her. Because from the very time that she entered DYCI, she'll be telling me, narrating it to me, and then would tell me, how about you? What's your story? But I found the beauty of meeting them. That's the practice that we are now doing in the office. That's why we are not that good stewards. We are not the best stewards, I should say. But what we are doing effectively in our organization right now is to keep our communication lines open and our operations transparent. I know that there are a lot of times we as professionals, we look at ourselves as the changers, the organizational movers. Being an HR professional is a very taxing job, I know. You have to be the attorney, you have to be the guidance counselor, you have to be the maintenance personnel, you have to be the janitorial, because everything would be asked to the HR. Sir, yung ilaw po dito, wala. What would I do? Alam po ninyo, we found the beauty when our employees are actually reaching us. In the time of the pandemic, the eminent problem that we face is the resistance to change of a majority of our faculty. They are quite resistant. Some are never believers of the virus, never believers of the COVID-19, of the pandemic. They would say, gawa lang yan ng tao. Mag-face-to-face ako. but how we get their attention simply by telling them the very intention why we are doing our things. Yes, very honestly, in our field, in our profession, we do things because we are bounded to. But as practitioners, people leaders, I know that we are doing things, we are implementing programs not only because we are bounded to, but more eminently, we are doing it because we know what world of good that program would cause and impact to the lives of your people. But as I fast forward, in our institution, we apply siguro po 2 flagship programs lang that I would share. First is Exceed, and second is Home Time. In our institution, we ensure the continuous improvement of our faculty, of all our staffs, from our general services up to our directors, mid-level leaders. That's why we implemented this program. This actually is a brainchild of our leader, of our president, because his very intention is at the end of the day, no one in the institution would be left behind. Everyone should be afforded of the qualifications, of the right certifications for them, the tailored fit trainings, and that is the challenge for us. Now we are on this, we are implementing this, and we are seeing a change as to how our people respond to learning and development. Like your organizations as well, we are on that thread of traditions and customs. Some would think of training as, naku, masasayang lang yung oras ko dyan. A waste of time. But from time to time, because of this program, we communicated and we tried to deal with them. Initially, we started with our general services, and thereafter the general services, our frontline. After our frontline, our faculty. Thereafter our faculty, our mid-level leaders. We are gradually becoming successful into changing the environment, changing their notion and their perspectives about learning. The second, what aid this Exceed is our Home Time. Our Home Time is our HR Connect program. Parang pinag-isipan ko po masyado, no? HR Connect. Wala lang talaga akong maisip noon. Tinatanong na ako kung anong programa yung gagawin ko. So I said, it's an HR Connect program. I'll visit their office, I'll go to them, and then I'll meet them. Kahit nga po sa daan, I'm meeting my people. And I ask them, we do this, hear out my everything. We're not talking about job. We are not talking about their roles. We are simply talking about their lives. And after that, this is aside from our usual counseling, this is aside from the psychological perspectives that our guidance counselors are actually employing. This is more of just knowing our people, letting them know that at the end of the day, the perspective of the management, of the mid-level leaders in the organization is thoroughly and vividly very clear. What is that? Making them connect, making them involved, keeping them inspired. Thus, at the end of all this, we as people practitioners, tasked with this job, let me just ask you this before I end. How often do you reflect? Because we are facilitators of programs. We implement projects. We try to always formulate things for our people. But how often do you reflect? Alam po ninyo, mas nakakapagod pag hindi ka nagkakaroon ng oras para mag-isip at mag-recharge. Bakit po? Meron po kasing fitful ang pagiging HR. Because we are the one in authority, the one in influence of our people. There are times that we look at ourselves as the sole change makers. But what if the change maker is the one resistant to change? How often? Again, the focus is not on our top management level because we cannot control them. But at the very least, how do we respond? How do we make and how do we communicate? How often do you reflect? Finally, are you quick to listen or just quick to judge? Or are you also quick to admit, as what Taylor Swift says, "Hi, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem, it's me." Sometimes a change maker is the problematic one. Be sure to reflect. Be sure to reflect regularly because we are on a very taxing job. Our business is not on machines, never on equipment. Our business are lives of people. A very taxing job. And if you would not reflect, you would end up even losing yourself. You would end up losing the passion in your heart of making and committing your people to impactful changes in your organization. With that, let's all have a time to reflect, to listen, because at the end of the day, the best form of leadership is a listening leadership. It is the collaborative leadership.